Welcome. This is the Rip Griffin Show podcast, a baseball podcast for baseball fans of all ages. Now, here's your host, Rip Griffin.
Hey guys, welcome to this episode of the Rip Griffin Show, episode number 53. I'm joined by my co-host, Brad Chandler. Brad, what's going on, man?
Hey, what's going on, bro? How you doing?
Doing pretty good. I'm glad to be back with you this week as we do another live episode. It's exciting because we've had a lot of great things that have happened this week in the baseball news. A lot of things going on with the show off the behind the scenes that we've been working on. So a lot of great things that we've got going on, which is great. So I'm excited. We'll kind of just dive right into it. You know, we've got the website right now is the ripgriffinshow.com. And it's a new way to interact with us as you, the listeners. You can interact with us. If you go to the website right now, you can go and you'll see a little blue microphone at the bottom right-hand corner. You click on that button, you can actually leave us a voicemail. So
What?
I know we're getting fancy. We're getting high tech with the show now. But if you go to the website, which you'll see it scroll across here if you're watching to the show live right now, it'll be the Rip Griffin Show. Well, actually, that's my email. Sorry. But you can send us an email as well. But if you go to the ripgriffinshow.com, there you click on the blue microphone, leave us a voicemail, and we would like to start doing a mailbag segment where you send us your questions and we will answer them during the show. It's exciting.
What?
So, like I said, great things are happening right now. And so, but the ripgriffinshow.com, I'll even put it here on the banner right now so you can all see it, those that are watching. So it's exciting. I'm excited for this because, you know, having more fan interaction is something that we like. We would like for y'all to kind of join us. And so, you know, there it is right there. Boom, theripgriffinshow.com. There you will have all of our latest episodes, videos like the one that you're watching right now or listening to. You can go back to listen to it in the future or, you know, whenever you get a chance. And then a blog segment, you've got about our host, all that good stuff. So theripgriffinshow.com. Head on over there, check it out. It's going to be awesome.
Dude, that's awesome, man. If my computer didn't suck that bad, I'm trying to pull it up right now. It looks cool. I see the little blue microphone over on the bottom right and everything, and it shows each of your episodes. And it shows at the top, it has the most recent episode that we did last week with Stephanie Stradley. That's pretty cool. I like that little feature. It has like the latest episode and whatnot.
Mm-hmm.
And you get your Twitter, your Facebook, and what is this, YouTube?
Yep, YouTube as well. So you can watch the show on YouTube or wherever you would like. You can watch it wherever.
It's definitely coming along, man.
A lot, you know. I had one before and I kind of just threw it up real quick and just to kind of get it out there. But I wanted to get more polished now that we've got you on as well, to kind of get, you know, your section of the website up. That way it's you know, we can learn about you and the stuff that you've got going on, which you've had a pretty amazing week, actually. We can dive into that and talk about that for a minute.
So, yeah, if you guys follow me on Facebook, I made a pretty decent or big announcement today. I ended up, I blogged for the Net podcast for a little while. I started with them, I believe it was in August. And I had tremendous, like, it was fun. It was fun work with Brandon and Zach and those two guys. And then I ended up getting somebody from a website called Draft Lord Sports, Marquez. He reached out to me and he wanted me to blog for his site about the Boston Red Sox, which everybody who listens to this and who has watched me since I've been a guest on here knows that I'm a huge Red Sox fan. So I totally went ahead and did that. More recently, I was speaking with a gentleman that I I'm in a Facebook group with, and he told me that I should look into this site called Fansided. I didn't know what Fansided was, and he told me that they do Botox injection. And I knew who Botox injection was because I've read their articles before and whatnot. So I reached out to them. I filled out an application. He helped me out. Big shout out to Terry Cushman of the Benny and Betts podcast. And I sent out I applied and whatnot. Yesterday night, I just happened to go through my email and I got accepted to be a contributor for Fansided's Botox injections. So your boy's going to be writing blogs for these guys, and I'm going to be a contributor. So that's pretty exciting for myself. And, I get to do more talking and more research and whatnot on my favorite team, the Boston Red Sox.
Man, that is awesome. There's no greater joy than talking about or even researching your favorite team, and to be able to do it with these guys at Fansided. That is just truly awesome, man. I'm happy for you. If I had a soundboard, which I think I do here, hold on.
You used your phone. That's great.
iPhones are the best. There's an app for everything.
I wouldn't go that far, but
well,
we're polar opposites there.
Well, it's one of those things, I've had it since I used to have the BlackBerry at one point in time, and then
I had a BlackBerry at one time too.
I think just about everybody, or the Palm Pilot, and so buddy of mine said, "Hey, you should get an iPhone." I'm like, "Okay, sure." And it's one of those things I haven't gone back since because it's what I'm used to. But I happened to there's an app for everything. I found that app and I was like, hey, I'm gonna use that tonight. So I'm glad we were able to. Yeah, I'm glad we were able to use it to congratulate you on your.
Thank you, Kenny. I do want to do a quick shout out to all the guys that have helped me along my journey and whatnot. Of course, Brandon and Zach of the Nest podcast. Check them out for all your football and other sports related stuff at the Nest podcast. Also, Marquez and the gentlemen that are a part of the Draft Lord Sports group, they literally took me in and treated me like I was a friend. It's not like I was just some weird guy that just popped in and whatnot. We were all part of a chat. We always kept up with certain things. They were more about football. I was the only one who was like, I don't know anything about football. So, and I definitely want to give a shout out to Terry Cushman, as I said earlier, of the Benny and the Betts podcast. They are a podcast not strictly on, but they do a lot more of the Boston Red Sox type stuff. So appreciated everything those guys have all done for me, and thank you.
That's awesome, man. So we're going to have to be on the lookout for the stuff that you're contributing to on Fansided, which is going to be exciting to see in the future. And I'm being greeted by.
So
so I've got a little guest that's following me around here right now. Yeah. You say hi. Yes, this is my daughter. This is my daughter. She's 3. You say hi.
This is the second time she's made an appearance in the past 2 weeks.
I think I'm rubbing off on her. I think she wants to be doing a live stream podcast. So this is going to be something for her in the future. So. And there's my guitar.
Nice.
Well, you never know what's going to happen with the live show.
No, especially when you got kids.
Exactly.
So we got a couple things that we got to talk about this week, bro, huh?
Yeah, man. You know what? We were planning the episode and kind of figuring out what we wanted to do. I kind of had it kind of planned out to where, we talk about Kim Ning. Ing. She is the new She's the new general manager
Hi,
for the
Mrs.
Miami.
Griffin.
See, like I said, you don't know what's going to happen live. But like I said, as we were
I
playing,
knew that was happening.
yeah,
I could tell you were like doing something off on the side. I knew what you were doing.
Yeah. Cooter's watching the show tonight. Yes, little girls are awesome. They definitely keep us on our toes. That's for sure. Well, anyways, like I said, as we were playing the show, we kind of had a couple of things that have happened earlier this week that we'll kind of dive into here in just a little bit. But the main thing that kind of just took precedent over everything else was the fact that Robinson Cano has just been suspended for 162 games in the 2021 season for PEDs. This is the second time that he has been caught with PEDs.
So I made sure that I was able to have this up in front of me while we were talking about this. For the 2 times that he has been suspended, he was suspended in 2018. He was suspended for 80 games. Between 2018 and 2021, the season, he has given up $36 million to dope up.
Gosh, I hope it's worth it.
Well, he's given up $24 million just this year, and this is a bad year. 2021, like that's a bad time to just like give up money because you've got so many people that are out of a job right now, and you're not going to get any sympathy at all.
Exactly. 80 games is enough to, make you kind of get your act together. And then,
well, you'd think so.
You would think so. But now 162 games, and on top of that, you lose $24 million. I don't get it. Because when you're caught the first time, they're going to start doing. They're going to focus. And I mean, they as in Major League Baseball are going to focus on you more because could possibly be a repeat offender, and he is in this case. And I saw something the other day, or maybe yesterday, that the winners of this
are the Mariners.
Are the Mariners, exactly. They don't have to pay him. I don't know how much they're paying him.
I believe it's $3.25 million or $25 million. So I mean, they're literally not losing anything out on this. They don't have to pay him, and they're not losing money out on it.
Exactly.
Now the thing that sucks right now for the Mets is they're without a second baseman. Now essentially they can move one of their other guys down and put them in second base. But the big thing right now is people are talking about DJ Lemaitre and the Mets probably going after him. Now, after doing a little bit of research, it would make sense for that to happen.
Right. Given that, Steve Cohen, he's going to have to go and he's going to find a second baseman. I mean, I know they've got one on the roster, but not at that caliber. They're going to move
him over. They're just going to move him over. That's all that's going to happen because you lose Cano for just 1 year. You still got him for another 2 years when he comes back.
Yeah, so it's going to be interesting to see, how this all plays out next season with the Mets. I mean, because, $24 million, now they can actually go out and, the possibility of a George Springer or a JT Realmuto or even
I don't think they're going to end up with George Springer. I do think that they're going to end up with JT Realmuto, though.
Right. He would be a perfect fit for that pitching staff with, hopefully Noah Syndergaard's coming back off of Tommy. I think he was on Tommy John.
Yeah, with Tommy John surgery. He should be coming back midsummer, which is about the same time that Chris Sale should be coming back for the Red Sox from his Tommy John surgery.
Right. So it'll be good for him to get in with that pitching staff to kind of start working with those guys. But PEDs, it's something that yeah, MLB's cracking down on. But when you're a repeat offender, it's just, gosh, it's just crazy, man. Especially after the week we had, with Major League Baseball kind of moving in a direction that is more inclusive and diversified, with the Miami Marlins hiring Kim Ng as the new general manager, the first female general manager in all sports. And not to mention, she's Asian American. It's a lot of great things that Major League Baseball was on the right track, and then this happens, and it's just, hey Austin, how's it going, man? Yeah, doing good. Long time, but all is well. Hope all is well with you as well. But yeah, I mean, Robinson.
Yeah. So Kim Ng becomes the first female general manager in all of baseball, all of actually any professional sport in North America, and literally it's just taken everything by storm right now. And in all honesty, man, it's been a long time coming. I mean, Kim has been part of she's been doing stuff with MLB since the 90s.
Right.
She started off with the Chicago White Sox. She ended up working underneath Brian Cashman and with the New York Yankees. She ended up working with Joe Torre in the MLB offices. And it's about time. I mean, in all honesty, the only thing that I was concerned about when Kim Ng was announced as the general manager of the Miami Marlins, it wasn't so much of like the backlash that there was going to be, because that there wasn't going to be much backlash, but that there's going to be somebody out there, and if you're on Twitter nearly as much as I am, there was a name that was trending when she was hired, and it was announced that she was hired to be the general manager, and that's Aubrey Huff. And I don't know if you know much about him, but that guy's crazy.
Oh my god, yeah. It's just crazy because his name just kind of just popped up. It seemed like nobody was talking about him, or at least from what I saw on Twitter, that nobody was bringing his name up, and then all of a sudden, boom, he was trending. It was crazy, and I'm not sure.
And the craziest thing about it all is as his point of views on everything are, I want to say, like, kind of corrupt, or not corrupt, because that's not really the right word to use, but his point of view is just like, he's so far out there that it's just like, how can you even view things that way? But it was shocking to me to hear that he actually congratulated her.
Yeah. I don't know. It's just, like I said, he's, like you mentioned, he's a character, that's for sure. And
I haven't followed much of Aubrey Huff. I do not follow him on Twitter. I will not follow him on Twitter. I don't believe in any of his point of views. And I mean, there's people that are way out there and who are just thriving on the publicity, and that's one of them. I literally think that he's the type of person who's just running with the publicity, and that's what he's going with. So that's enough of Aubrey Huff. I think the Kim Ng hiring was absolutely phenomenal. It was about time that not just baseball, but sports started going into that direction. There are females executives of other businesses and whatnot. What's to say that females can't run a baseball operation? She has been in MLB like I said, since 1990. She started her career with the Chicago White Sox. She left them. She ended up becoming the assistant general manager for the New York Yankees under Brian Cashman. And then she went ahead and she got one, two, three.
She's got 3 World Series championships, all with the Yankees.
Yep. She got 3 of them. 98, 99, and 2000.
Yeah. It's a tremendous, it's an awesome hire by the Miami Marlins, and that there's that connection that she's got with Derek Jeter, which kind of makes it more, I guess, in a sense, ideal for her, because I mean she knows Derek Jeter, and she's kind of worked with him when she was with the Yankees, when he was just up and coming, to now where he's in his position now, and it all fits, and it's. I've heard a lot of people say that, she may be overqualified for this position, but you know what? She's got the tools. She's got the resources. She's been around the great people within all the organizations, the Cubs and the Yankees, and all of her stops. So it's, like you said, it's the great hire. It was much needed for baseball, for sports, to get, women into these high profile and leadership type positions, and she's going to set the precedent for young girls like my daughter that you just all saw kind of barge in here, making her photobomb, but for her and for all these other girls that who want to work in sports but maybe feel like they're being held back just because of being a woman, and that's not the case. They need to be able to be in a industry, I mean, that is male dominant, but they can still compete with the men, and they can still kind of fight and do whatever they need to do. But I mean, women need this, and it's great for her to be kind of that role model for these women.
So I kind of want to read something that I found online. I'm gonna steal something from Wikipedia. I know Wikipedia is not extremely credible, but I mean, like, listen to this. Annie began her career as an intern with the Chicago White Sox after graduating from the University of Chicago, 1990. In 91, she was hired full time. She became the special projects analyst before being promoted to assistant director of baseball operations under Ron Schuler in 95. In 95, she became the youngest person and the first woman. Now, this one right here, this is what I really wanted to read. In 1995, she became the youngest person and the first woman to present a salary arbitration case in the major leagues when she worked for the White Sox regarding the case of pitcher Alex Fernandez, and she won.
Nice. She's got it. I mean, she will go toe to toe with these other general managers.
That was 1995. That was 25 years ago.
Right.
Okay, she was already making a mark within the MLB back then.
Mm-hmm.
And then, could you imagine doing a job for 30 years and then finally getting a break?
Jeez.
I mean, she was the assistant general manager, but now she is the general manager.
That's amazing.
And it's just, I'm so, like, with everything that's gone on in the world, I'm shocked. I'm not surprised. I am shocked that it has taken this long.
I am too. I think I think this is 30 years that it took too long. But I'm glad it's finally the time is finally here to have someone of her caliber to take on an organization that just is coming off the playoffs for the first time since 2003.
Here's here's what I love about this. So you already know my connection with the Miami Marlins, right? So I follow them, and like I'm not like super diehard and whatnot, but I will watch them. But now you have my undivided attention because I want to see her. I want to see Kim Ng be like, make one of those trades that like nobody even thought of trading.
Absolutely.
I think, and I'm not going to take the credit for this one. I'm going to give my pal Terry the credit for this one, and he had said this. And it was like if she was a part of that conversation when Brian Cashman was making a deal with the Miami Marlins, and it was up between Giancarlo Stanton and Christian Yelich, I bet you she would have told Cashman to go ahead and get Yelich.
It would have paid better dividends.
Yep.
Because Stanton's been hurt since he's been in New York. And so Yelich he just got a, what, $200 some odd million extension?
Yeah.
With the Brewers?
Yep. Something like that. I'm not 100% sure.
It's like I had it. I did a show on it during spring training right after it came out. And it was like, I know a lot of that money is deferred. Until after it's kind of like Bobby Bonilla.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
Yeah, it's on the same day, too.
Speaking of Bobby Bonilla, did you see what Stephen Cohen posted on his Twitter?
Let me see. No, I didn't see it.
He posted the Yelich extension was for 9 years, $215 million.
Okay.
$215 million, so he'll be 37, and he's good for another 9 years.
Right. Because he'll get crazy. When it's deferred, I think he'll get like $2.3 million. I don't know. I'm trying to look up the contract.
Oh, the deferred?
Yeah, it's like he'll get, after he's done playing, he'll get like 2.3.
He gets the contract also has $28 million in deferrals that will help Brewers presidents of baseball operations David Stern fill out the roster around Yelich when his base salary jumps to $26 million per year from 2022 to 2028.
Right. And then after 2028 is when he's supposed to get that deferred.
In each of those 7 seasons, $4 million is deferred until the end of the deal.
Isn't that crazy?
The mutual option for 2029 would pay $20 million with a $6.5 million buyout.
Jeez.
So thus, he is guaranteed $215 million with a chance to earn up to $228.5 million. Dude, like I couldn't even imagine making like $20 million in a lifetime. Never mind a year. It's crazy.
That's crazy, man. That is crazy. I mean, after he's done playing, he still gets money. So, unless
he's not going to get much, but
hey, I mean, he's still going to get something. That's
so. Not to take away from Kim Ng, that was a great hire. I'm happy for her. I'm also happy for women around the world, not just America.
Soundboard, iPhone.
Like garbage.
We're having fun tonight.
Yeah. We have random people showing up playing guitar.
Exactly. Out of tune guitar, no less.
Oh man, those are the most fun, honestly. But I think that the King thing hiring was fantastic. I love it. I'm happy for her. I'm also happy for all the females around, not just America, but around the world, because that is a big deal around the world, especially because baseball is big, and
Right.
people pay attention to that. So congratulations there. Robinson Cano's an asshole. And let's move on to Theo Epstein.
Yes. So, a surprise move by Theo Epstein, stepping down as the president of baseball operations for the Chicago Cubs, which was effective. Actually, it becomes effective tomorrow, which would be November the 20th on Friday. So it's kind of interesting that this move happens now when he's got at least 1 year left on his contract with the Cubs. So it kind of begs the
1 year,
question.
$10 million.
It kind of begs you kind of scratch your head a little bit and figure out why he's doing this, because he says he wants to take more time off. He wants to kind of be with his family, which I totally get. I kind of understand that. But maybe there's something else brewing in the works within the Chicago Cub organization that maybe he doesn't want to be a part of, and maybe
So,
why.
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off there,
No, you're fine.
but Theo Epstein has he will forever be remembered as the guy that helped the Red Sox end their curse, their drought, their championship drought. And then he went to Chicago, who had a 108-year drought, and he helped them win a World Series. So he's always going to be known as that guy that ends the curses.
Right.
And Theo is a very, I want to say, simple but difficult man. And when he had said that he was stepping down, I'm not 100% sure where I read it. It could have been The Athletic. It could have been Bleacher Report. But I know that I read somewhere that he said that he's stepping down now instead of next year after his contract is over, because he believes that the way that the organization is they're going, somebody who's going to be there long term should be making the decisions, not somebody who's going to be there for 1 year.
Right.
So it definitely makes sense to me. But then you have to think, like, is he really going to take 1 year off? Like, do you really just say, nah, the one thing that I love and I've been doing for the past 20 years or whatever, am I just going to give up on this and, not get paid? I don't think that's the way things are going to happen. I know a lot of people, like, because he's tied to Boston and he grew up in the area and he helped Boston win their first championship in 86 years. And then he brought them to a second one. I think, honestly, that he's going to come back to Boston in some way, shape, or form. Hear me out, then. So I don't know if you've heard, like, the news or whatever about Billy Beane's Red Ball acquisition,
Right.
and the Fenway Sports Group. Well, John Henry has a lot to do with Liverpool, the football club in Liverpool.
Yes.
So he does a lot of focusing on that when it comes to the Fenway Sports Group. I mean, he's the guy that, dishes out the money. Him and Tom Warner are basically those guys. What's the one other step that Theo Epstein could do that's bigger than being the president of baseball operations?
Unless he becomes an owner.
So what I think is going to end up happening is, if and when the Red Ball acquisition happens, the merger with Fenway Sports Group, I think that you have Billy Beane and John Henry, who are going to focus on Liverpool, which will now open up a spot for the Boston Red Sox. You've got Tom Warner, Sam Kennedy, and just imagine Theo Epstein.
Interesting. I never would have thought of that scenario. I would have thought
it's definitely a far-fetched idea, but it's not something that you can like put outside the realm of the possibility.
Because I was thinking that he would step down and maybe try to take on a bigger challenge. Yes, he brought a World Series championship to Boston after, the curse of the Bambino, and then he brought a championship to Chicago after the 108-year drought. I would think he would want to take an organization from that has been on the cusp of the postseason, but hasn't eclipsed the hurdle. And
now, I have two more things that I think could happen, and one of them just kind of like popped in my head. So the one that kind of just popped in my head is you have 29 out of the 30 teams have been to the World Series.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know what one team has not been to the World Series?
Seattle Mariners.
Right. What happens? I don't know much about the Seattle Mariners, so I'm not just gonna like talk out my ass there. But what happens if they brought him on?
It would be a challenge because they are a smaller market team.
Right, but I'm just saying, like, imagine if they could take on Theo. Theo could work on that whole strategy and whatnot, get them to. I don't understand why Seattle's such a small market team. Not just a small market, but like not spending. The other thing, and I don't know exactly where I got this from. I believe it was the Facebook group that I'm in. What about if sitting around waiting to see what happens with Rob Manfred?
Like, meaning resignation?
Meaning, yeah. Resignation, or, something happens to where, like, he's no longer the commissioner.
So you think maybe take on more of a commissioner type role within Major League Baseball?
I'm just saying.
That's interesting.
It's freaking Theo Epstein, dude. There's so many things you can sit here and like play with and be like, all right, so like Phillies trying to contact Theo right now. I don't see Theo going there, but again, like I said, Theo is his own guy.
Right.
So that's gonna be like his decision or whatever. It was said that the Mets we're going to look into bringing Theo, which I think would have been a fantastic fit for Theo if that's the route he wanted to go.
Right. Because the Seattle one that's where I was going with that a little bit earlier, was I was going to, Seattle had popped into my mind as well. Because, like you said, they're the team or the organization that has not been in the World Series. The other 29 have. And that would be a challenge.
That would be an extreme challenge.
Because you are in the Pacific Northwest, so it's just your team. Yep. I mean, yeah, the next closest, I believe, is Colorado. But other than that, I mean, you've got fan bases from different states. You've got, Montana, Idaho, Utah. I'm trying to think of states that are kind of around there. But then you've got a team that's kind of, Austin wrote in here, like, they're on the fringe. But, they still need a couple key pieces to kind of get them into that next hurdle, which would be the postseason.
The other thing that you have to think about is okay, so Theo brought the World Series championship to Chicago, right? After 108 years. But what did he really do with that team? Like, what's really left of that team?
Well, you still have, Chris Bryant, Anthony Rizzo. I mean, you've got a bunch of high-priced key pieces that are still there.
You got but I'm not talking about the major league. I'm talking more like, all right, let's talk about like their pitching staff. Like, who do you really have for pitching? Who do you have developing down in the minors for them?
Right. You've got Darvish. You've got that guy Mills who threw the no-hitter, he was kind of what I think a bottom of the rotation, or he was actually one that was called up like the day before, if memory serves me correct. But other than that, I mean, you don't really have a whole lot within the pitching rotation.
No.
At least in my opinion.
And then now Lester's going to probably walk.
Yeah.
So, I don't know, man. I think, I'm not going to take credit for this either. You got to, conversations within a group with Terry, and, maybe Theo is outdated.
Ooh.
I mean, you got these young cats that are like, Hein Bloom, who's sitting there. He's used to working with a $72 million payroll, which before that, if you look deeper into it, when Hein first started working with Tampa Bay, he was working with like a $50 million payroll.
Right.
Where Theo, he's used to working with like 140, 172, 200. He's got money to play with. So
right.
I don't know, man. Maybe it's the Moneyball era.
I heard something that Billy Beane kind of developed the Moneyball, but Epstein kind of used the same principles, but was more successful in winning the championships than Billy Beane. So maybe he's got something a little bit more up his sleeve as far as tricks that he can, build a team that has a championship caliber, like he did in Boston and Chicago.
All right. So the Boston Red Sox won their first World Series in 2004.
Right.
All right, in 86 years. Their payroll in 2004, Jesus Christ, the New York Yankees payroll was $182.8 million in 2004. That was the highest. The second highest was 125. It was like $60 million less.
Wow.
So Boston was number 2 with $125 million payroll. Let's scroll down a little bit, and where are we for Anaheim? Anaheim had a $59 million payroll. They weren't even in the bottom. I think they were in the bottom 10. They were 15. Sorry.
Okay.
The Tampa Bay Rays were at a $29.5 million payroll. All right. When did the Cubs last win? Was that
1908?
No. I'm saying, was that in the...
2016.
Yeah. So let's look at the payroll then. All right. So the payroll then, the Red Sox were at $182.1 million, right? They were number 3, where the Chicago Cubs, where you got? They were at 14 with $116 million. Now, where do you think the Tampa Bay Rays were?
In 2016?
Yep.
I would say they were probably around 40 or 50 million.
Nope. Nobody was that low. Your Houston Astros were in last place with the payroll at $69 million.
In 2016?
Yep.
Well, yeah, they didn't make the playoffs that season. And then all of a sudden, they made that jump in 2017. That's when their payroll increased.
So the Tampa Bay Rays payroll in 2016 was $73.6 million.
Jeez.
All right. So your guys were at 69 mil and 16. They were at $117.9 million in 8 and 17.
Yeah, drastic improvement there.
Yep.
But it's just interesting because I think,
This is pretty funny. In 2017, the Los Angeles Dodgers had the highest payroll, but their 25-man roster was the second highest.
oh, jeez.
Their payroll was at $242 million.
Jeez. And we all know that's over the luxury tax, so they're paying extra.
Well over the luxury tax.
Jeez.
Yep. That's crazy. But, yeah, I mean, like I said, the Theo thing, he could be outdated. You never know. I think an ownership group would be ideal for him. A lot of people are talking about him possibly doing an ownership, but it's like, what team is going to sell?
Right.
I mean, you got Jerry for the Chicago White Sox. He ain't going to sell. If that guy hasn't sold yet, he ain't going to sell anytime soon.
No. No, that's, yeah. And then you've got, other than, the Mets that just sold, really, there's no other teams that are, or organizations that are going to be selling, unless a team wants to bring him on as maybe like a minority type owner, which is always possible.
The only thing, I don't know. I was thinking that maybe some team brings Theo on as a minority owner, but he's the face of the team. Kind of like how Derek Jeter is for the Miami Marlins.
Right.
So
it'll be interesting to see what happens, because I'm personally going to come out and say that I know he's not done in baseball.
Absolutely not.
I think the next biggest challenge awaits him. And it'll be interesting to see where he goes, because all the things that you've mentioned are all very interesting, scenarios. Baseball is a game that you just can never predict. You don't know what's going to happen. And some, head scratching things happen. Some great moves happen. And it'll be interesting to see where Theo Epstein goes. I think, personally, I think Seattle would be a fantastic opportunity to at least get that team to a World Series, because they had that chance back in 2001 where they won, 118 games, I think it was, in the regular season.
I think it was 116.
I think you're right. And then they lost in the American League Championship Series to the Yankees, who went on to go to the World Series, and they actually lost to the newly expansion Arizona Diamondbacks. So I think it'll be interesting. I think wherever he goes and whatever he does is going to be beneficial for not only him, but for whatever organization or corporation that he steps in the door with. So
definitely. So I don't want to cut you off, but I kind of want to run into the whole free agents. Let's to try and get through that this week.
Yeah.
So we have a few free agents that I'd like to talk about. One would be DJ Lemaitre. So where do you think DJ is going to be playing next year and beyond? Now the biggest thing is that, like, right now you've got the people. Obviously, you got Mets fans out there saying, "Oh, we need a second baseman now because Robinson Cano has been suspended due to PEDs." But you get rid of that $24 million this year, I think Steve Cohen goes ahead, and him and Alderson go ahead and they go get pitching with that money. They move one of the younger guys over to second base. Cano comes back next year. They have the DH role. Bam, you're all set. The other thing is like, okay, so the Boston Red Sox, they have been said to be interested in DJ LeMahieu. Why wouldn't they be? They've needed a second baseman for a couple years now because Dustin Pedroia has been out. I don't think it's a good fit. It's perfect, honestly, to fill the void. But it's like if you bring DJ LeMahieu up, you kind of block the second base spot for Jeter Downs. And he's supposed to be the next person coming up to play second base, and we need that kind of prospect role. And then the obvious choice, and this one makes the most sense, is he goes back to the Yankees. Mm-hmm. But I think he goes back to the Yankees. I think the Yankees trade Luke Voit, possibly package up Sanchez with Voit, try to get some pitching. You move LeMahieu over to first base. You move Torres over to second base. There has been ties with the New York Yankees and what's the Angels shortstop?
Simmons?
Yes.
Anderson Simmons?
Yes. So he's a free agent right now. And the Yankees have been tied to him. So that kind of makes sense.
You know, going back to the DJ LeMahieu, I really think that, you know, like you mentioned, it's going to come down to two teams, either the Mets and the Yankees. In my opinion, I think he stays with the Yankees. You know, he can go to the Mets for whatever Steve Cohen wants to pay him, but after that, I mean, Cano's going to come back.
But I really think that when Cano comes back in 2022, if they don't already adopt the DH role in the National League, they will by then.
Right. I hope it stays, honestly, because I think it's great. You know, you'd be able to get that extra bat in the National League like you do in the American League. I mean, pitchers.
Well, look what it's doing with people like Edwin Encarnacion and Nelson Cruz.
Oh, it's prolonging their careers.
Hey.
So I think.
We both think that he's going to stay in New York and the Bronx.
Yes, I honestly think so.
Okay. So you go ahead. I'm sorry.
Sorry, I kind of want to touch on something because Austin sent in a couple questions, and the first one was, "What is your honest opinion? You think the Astros start seeing a decline right now?"
So, in my opinion, the Astros had a really bad season this year. They had a bad regular season. What they did in the postseason was pretty good. And they proved that they're a force to be reckoned with. You've got Carlos Correa, you've got Alex Bregman, you've got Altuve, who's kind of starting to do his decline right now.
Right.
But you still have that core. Now, there are talks about the possibility, you know, George Springer wants to be closer to his home, and his home's is in Connecticut, so he's automatically going to be tied to the Mets, the Red Sox, and there's another like a sleeper that was announced that was interested in George Springer, and that's the Blue Jays.
Yep.
So,
that one.
I mean, that one was kind of like interesting to me. It's like, wow, the Blue Jays are interested in George Springer. So, in my opinion, I don't want to see him as a Red Sox, and it's no offense to any like Red Sox fans. There's many reasons, and I'm not going to go into it. The Mets are probably the ones I think he's most likely to go to.
I agree.
But back to your question, I don't know who that was. But back to the question, Austin, sorry. I think that the Houston Astros are going to be, in the top, the top like 5 teams, five to 7 teams, something in that area. They're going to get their shit back together. Verlander's going to come back next year. So they have some good pitching. What's that kid's name? That lefty?
Framber Valdez. Excuse me.
I was absolutely floored by the way that kid was pitching in the postseason, it being his first time pitching in that situation. The 2 times he pitched, he was just like incredible. So I don't think that they're going to be in a decline. I think what's going to end up happening is that what happened this year to them was Verlander. The whole Verlander thing kind of screwed them, and it's not his fault, but.
Oh yeah, no. I think, I agree. I think the Astros are going to be fine next season. Bullpen is probably going to be the key they need to focus on, because they're going to have Yordan Alvarez coming back, which is going to be your DH. So you'll have him back in the lineup. Hopefully, Jose Altuve will kind of get back to himself. Now the question is, what's going to happen with Michael Brantley? I
think Brantley comes back.
I think he does. I think they're going to offer him. They didn't offer him the qualifying offer, but I think they're going to work on a deal that will bring him back for the next couple of seasons. Because from what I hear, he likes playing in Houston. He likes the city and the fan base and whatnot. So I think he comes back. They probably get him at a cheaper deal. That way they can go out and get some bullpen help. Brad Hand is probably one of the prospects that they might try to bring in. You don't think they'll bring in Brad Hand? You think he's going to Boston? I don't know.
I don't see him going to Boston. It's definitely a name that's been thrown out there in the groups that I'm in and whatnot. So I have to represent.
Bo Sox. But anyways, I mean, yeah, Brantley, I see coming back. You've got the bat and Alvarez, like I mentioned, bullpen. So I think the Astros are going to be fine, to be quite honest. You've got a rotation that you still have, McCullers, you've got Greinke as your 1-2, your 3, you've got Framber Valdez probably, and you've got Christian Javier too, that can kind of come in the mix, whether he might be a bullpen or he might be a starter, maybe a 5th starter. So I think the Astros are going to be okay. I don't see them starting to decline yet, Austin. I think it'll be interesting to see what 2022 comes, especially with Verlander coming off the books, and whether or not he's going to re-sign or or stay or whatever he wants to do. That's Verlander, whatever he wants. But I think for 2021, if we have a 162-game season, I see the Astros still being up there in the top 5 at least. So Austin had another question. This is about the Rangers. What top 3 areas to hit in this offseason?
Management.
Yeah. Let's see. Let me kind of pull up their roster here for a second.
I can't imagine that. I don't pay attention to the Rangers because it's no offense to them or whatever. It's just they're not interesting.
Well,
the most interesting thing they've done in the past 5 years is open a new baseball stadium.
I think, for them is, definitely pitching is going to be a factor that they are going to need to focus on. I mean, you really don't have, other than Lance Lynn, you don't really have any other.
There's a good chance he's gone.
That is true.
There's a good chance that they put him on the trade block.
Yeah, because they're going to need. I mean, let me look at their bullpen too, because I think bullpen was an issue. I mean, yeah, like, they had Corey Kluber, but they didn't pick up his option, which I don't understand. But that kind
Didn't
of
he
ties.
just come off of an injury?
I don't know.
I want to say he just came off of an injury.
I think he did. I think you're right.
Yeah, he had a 2019. He had an injury. On December 15, 2019, Cleveland traded Kluber and cash consideration to the Rangers in exchange for Delano DeShields Jr. On July 26, 2020, Cleveland made his Rangers debut, but lasted just one inning after experiencing shoulder tightness. He was subsequently diagnosed with a torn teres major muscle, sending him to the Rangers injured list. So, yeah, I can understand why they went and picked up his option.
Yeah, so I think pitching is going to be key for the Rangers. I mean, you still got a pretty, decent lineup, and especially with
Shin-Cho Chi or whatever his name is?
No, he's Shin-Soo Choo. I think
Yeah.
he's on the decline. Honestly, I don't see him.
Yeah, he is.
I mean, but you still have Joey Gallo. So
Yep, you have Gallo, Gibson.
I think,
Hold on.
yeah, Choo's not going to be there. There's a pitcher. I don't remember. Is it Jordan Lyles or somebody else for the Rangers? Tyler Phillips, maybe. Especially when Kyle Gibson, that's who it was. He just was pretty dominant this season he's a former first round pick from 2009 out of the Minnesota Twins that the Rangers picked up, and they brought him in, and when he played the Astros, he was pretty dominant. So, but yeah, the Rangers, Austin, pitching for sure, I think is going to be the focus. You may get a catcher. It looks like there's just one active catcher right now, and Sam Huff. But
what about Jose Trevino?
My phone froze.
I see his name under there. You got Elvis Andrus.
Yeah, I mean he's on the decline as well. I mean he's.
Oh yeah, well you got Odor.
You've got Odor. You've got Ronald Guzman, who's first baseman. He's still doing pretty good.
Actually, something pretty cool about that, Ronald Guzman. I actually just bought a subscription to the Dominican Winter League, and I've been watching Dominican baseball, and he's played.
Oh yeah, you were mentioning something about that.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. I mean, like, I don't know Spanish, so I don't know what they're saying. But it's baseball, and it's fun to watch.
So one thing I wanted to kind of, is there any other free agents you wanted to kind of touch on?
Just real quick, JT Realmuto, I think he'll end up being a Met. I think that Jackie Bradley Jr. is going to Houston.
I think so. They're making a big push for him right now.
I don't understand it because they're also going for Springer, and Springer's probably not coming back.
I think JBJ is a high number 2. So if Springer does walk,
I just want to give you guys a little bit of information on JBJ. JBJ is an amazing outfielder. He is definitely Gold Glove caliber, and he can wow you with the most spectacular catches ever. He's a number 9 hitter, though. He's not the type of person that's going to get on base that many times. This past season, with 60 games, he did bat 280 something. Before that, he was nowhere near there. So his global value, he is 30, I believe, about to be 31, and we have no idea. Like, I'm just letting you know, don't expect a bat.
Right. And that's the big thing that, the Astros, I mean, yes, they do have, they've got Bregman, Altuve, they've got, Gurriel, Correa. So they've got some other big bats. The only other center fielder that they're going to have on their roster right now is Miles Straw. And he may show some flashes of greatness in the outfield, but I don't see him being an everyday center fielder. So I think by bringing in Jackie Bradley Jr. kind of gives that reassurance in that alpha, because you've got Kyle Tucker, and it kind of depends on who's going to play the other corner position. So, I think they're willing to sacrifice a bat for top flight defense.
I do too. I think it's the same situation that the New York Yankees are possibly going to do with their shortstop with Simmons if they go after him. You got Torres, who's got an amazing bat, but his defense is going to be the biggest problem.
Right.
So there's that. Who else? I know that we wanted to talk about the Lindor situation. I don't believe we really have enough time to be doing that.
Yeah, because I wanted to touch on Mike Clevenger too.
Oh, yes. The fact that the San Diego Padres decided to make an announcement that, yes, we had signed Mike Clevenger for $11.5 million for 2 years, and also he needs Tommy John surgery. And will be out for the rest of that year. So it's like basically they hit you with like, hey, we're bringing Clevy back, and he's going to need Tommy John surgery. He won't be pitching for us next year, and we're going to give him $11.5 million for 1 year, and that's going to be in 2022, and he has a chance to get $500,000 extra for bonuses. But yeah, we brought Clevenger back for 2 years.
Oh, jeez. I don't get it.
I kind of get it. It's a little. It's definitely not something I would have done.
No.
Essentially, they're paying him $11.5 million for 1 year.
That's ridiculous. It doesn't make sense. It really doesn't. I understand they wanted to get a good top flight pitcher, and he's a great pitcher. But if he's going to be on the shelf for a year, and you don't know what's going to happen after he has that surgery.
Well, he's already had Tommy John once.
Yeah.
So this will be his second time. Like, what the actual hell, man?
I don't understand it, but that's not why we're not paid to be general managers, unfortunately. So
we're not getting paid the big bucks.
No.
If we were, we wouldn't be sitting here doing a live stream.
Exactly.
We'd be on the phones with other people saying, "Hey, I want this player."
Exactly. Oh man, but I don't know. But to me, I think the Padres made a mistake by extending him. But that's them. If they wanted to sacrifice 1 year and maybe try to shoot for all in 2022, then I can understand that. But I think they're at the point now where they need to start to maybe add a key piece here and there for 2021.
So that actually brings me to another free agent.
Okay.
Trevor Bauer. So let me ask you, with his ties to Clevenger and him being such good friends with Clevenger, and Clevenger signing a 2-year deal to be in San Diego until 2022. What other team out there could really use Trevor Bauer? It has the advantage of using Clevenger as a key piece.
I think the Padres will make a definite push because of the fact that Bauer, has come out and said, that he would take 1-year contracts, with the option of possibly doing an extension. But it would be fitting to have him in San Diego. You have Clevenger in San Diego. The two were very worked well together when they were in Cleveland. It's interesting. I think the Padres, they still have the money to go out and sign him. Because
especially if it's a 1-year contract.
Exactly. I guess the ultimate question is are they willing to pay him $25, $26, $27 million for 1 year?
Well, they're paying freaking Clevenger $11.5 million to sit at home for 1 year.
Oh.
Not 11.5. Okay, they're paying him almost $5.75 million to sit at home. But
Jeez.
did you hear what happened? It was it tweeted? I see so much news going on throughout the day. And Trevor Bauer had told one of his friends that if he ever signed a multi-year contract, did you see that? Oh my God! So I'm going to tell the people listening. So Trevor Bauer, it said, I'm not sure how true this is, but it being Trevor Bauer, I can probably guess it's about 99.9% true. He had said to one of his friends that if he had ever signed a multi-year contract, he would let his friend shoot him in the nuts with a paintball gun.
That's
That's like how is that literally how serious you are about not wanting to sign a multi-year contract? I mean, he has come out and said he would entertain it.
That's true.
I mean, but the other team that you kind of have to be watchful for are the New York Yankees. I know they need pitching. If you have a pitcher like Garrett Cole, and then Trevor Bauer, then Severino, who's coming back from Tommy John, and then you got Domingo Germán, and that would be a cheat code.
Yeah. Oh man, I mean the Yankees are always a team that will, when any top free agent comes up, that is the automatic first place that a lot of media and news outlets kind of peg a player to go.
That's where Harper was going. That's where Machado was going. And,
right.
We're not going to talk about it this week. We'll have to talk about it next week. But there's talks about Lindor going there.
Right.
So, like, every time there's a big free agent, it's like, oh, we're getting them. Yeah, we've got the money. But Hal Steinbrenner isn't he isn't his dad, and he's not going to spend the money.
Right. I agree.
So,
it'll be interesting to see what, how all this plays out because, the Yankees, I mean, yeah, they do have such that high payroll, and maybe they might want to kind of scale down. I don't know. But also, too, they haven't won a World Series since 2009.
Right. So, I mean, they also lost a lot of money this year, too. Like,
That's true.
Lot of money.
Yeah.
They said that they lost a lot more money than any other club. So. Well. But, yeah.
So, yeah.
You know what? I just realized, I said we would do the show next week. I didn't realize that next week was actually Thanksgiving. Jeez, man. Like, this year has been so shitty. that it's just flying by.
Exactly. So, I mean, we're getting close to the end of 2020, which we can all be glad it's almost over. So
Yeah. It's only November, though.
Yep.
We have how many days until April 1st?
Let me see. I downloaded a countdown tracker, and I have it specifically for spring training. And 89 days until pitchers and catchers report. And then
let's see. It's 133 days until the first game.
And that is in April 1st. Okay. Yep. We're getting closer. To baseball coming back. Spring training is fixing to start up in 89 days. Pitchers and catchers report. So, we've got baseball coming. It'll be here. We just got to get through the holidays.
Yep.
Oh, man. But, man, do you have anything else?
I do not have anything else. I think that we need to talk later. And everybody who's listening, thank you. Subscribe. Give us a thumbs up. Leave us a review. And tell us you like us. Definitely go ahead and check out our website. It's theripgriffinshow.com. Leave us some goodies. Click on that blue microphone. We will start answering questions at the end of the show, and I'm excited for next week. I sounded super excited saying that too, didn't I?
You're ready for some turkey, huh?
Something just came up to where I'm not gonna be able to spend it with my parents, so I'll talk to you about that after.
That sounds good. All right, man. Well, it's been a great show. We've had lots of activity, lots of photo bombs. The little one that popped in. But yeah, all in all, it was a great show. Thank you all for listening. Thank you all for watching. Like Brad said, go ahead and subscribe, review the show. Let us know how we're doing, and leave us a comment, review, and we will be sure to get that on the air so we can let everybody know. But other than that, man, it's been a great show. Brad, talk to you later. That's going to do it for this episode, guys. We appreciate it. Have a good night.
Thanks for listening to this episode of The Rip Griffin Show. Make sure to subscribe to the show on all the major podcast platforms. Follow Rip on Twitter @RipGriffin2.